So there we go, both cars on the line. And the green light shines, and our first place qualifier gets his first stab this weekend at Twin Battle as he fires in to that first outside zone. It's a little shallow though, has to work, put the back end of that 86 into that first long outside zone, flicks the car through, picks up the inner, fires it back across. Now looks for outside zone 3, goes right to the edge of the circuit, opens the door for Anthony Habib. Can he make a move? And he starts to as they come through that second inner clip. Now they start to rein it in, and look at this from Anthony Habib as he looks for the door once again, and that GT86 across the line. So good aggression from Anthony Habib. Wobble there though, looked like he made the dive and then bailed out of it. Had to reinitiate in that first outside zone. As Mohamed Shiab once again puts down a heater of a lead line. Very clean, very clinical. Goes right where the judges wanted him to be. Good transition, uses the D-cell properly as well. A little shallow in outside zone 5, but nevertheless gets the job done. And we'll be back for round 3 and 4. Round 3 will kick off on the 13th of February. And the final on the Formula 1 circuit here at Yas Marina. Brought to you all live streamed free on YouTube. Here we go, back on track, big dive in, nice initiation from Anthony Habib, and this time a mistake from Mohamed Shiab, as it looks like he was going to go wheels on the inside of the circuit. Now a little shallow there on that entry into outside zone 3 from Anthony Habib. Now Mohamed Shiab goes for the dive down the inside. It's going to be a late entry into that outside zone 5. Shiab dealing well with that bad line as they look over at each other and cross the line. So nice initiation from Anthony Habib. Gets that car right to the edge of the circuit. You can see there, look, Shiab goes for the dive down. Car didn't really react, had to wait, then get on throttle. And Anthony Habib then started to make a few mistakes. Gets into outside zone 3, but it's shallow and has to go deep right to the very end of it. And that opens the door for Mohamed Shiab to make the dive, but that transition wasn't great. Right, both guys on the line, ready to go. No more messing around. Sabir Sabet to lead out Ali Shazwani. They look for the green light, and it is good to go. They come through the chicane, through the gears. As Samir Savet puts that car where it needs to be. Shazwani almost overtakes him on initiation, but gains a whole bunch of proximity as they now look through for that inner zone. Transition back. Shazwani tries to find the side of that BMW E36 once again. Oh, takes out the cones, messes up the transition. Can he make a dive into outside zone 5? He can, but it's scrappy as Samir Sabeh puts a wheel over the edge of the circuit. Brave dive from from Ali Shazwani there, as you can see. Had to back out of it. Was going to make contact with Samir Sabeh. He kept his distance as they fired through into outside zone 3 and then waited for that transition back on that second inside zone. Then made a big mistake, clipping those cones on the inside, dived across the circuit, did gain a whole load of proximity, but cut the track to get there. Not sure how the judges are going to see that. We swap them around and back on the start line. Samir Sabeh to lead out, to chase down, Ali Shazwani. And we are good to go off the line through the chicane. Ali Shazwani to lead out Samir Sabet, and Samir has been left on the start line as Ali Shazwani, the faster car, now squeezes the accelerator and starts to pull away from Samir Sabet. Fires into outside zone 3 and fulfills it. Does Shazwani. It's a nice clean lead run so far from the man out front in the Lexus. What can he do on the transition? Big handbrake drag, but it is a D-cell. But did he D-cell too much and give away the opportunity? Oh, as Samir Sabeh goes off the edge of the circuit. A tough one there for the judges to decide. Shazwani up and gone on that initiation and that pull to that line across the circuit, which is the start of the scoring zone. You can see a little dab of the handbrake there. A lot of guys decelling in certain parts are allowed to decel once that transition is done, judges saying. The same here, did decel where the judges said, but was just late to get to that zone. Wasn't quite on that perfect lead line, but then cleaned it up. Look at this, right to the edge of the circuit, and job done. Will we see the man? And there we go, decisions in. It's going to be Ali Shazwani to get the win and advance through into the Grade A. Unfortunately, Samir Sabeh just didn't have the pace, couldn't get the job done tonight, and you can see so Hamdan to chase down the higher qualifier, Karim Hani in 4th place. Karim doing a sterling job. That beautiful BMW full painted livery. That goes green, and they are ready to send. They come through the chicane. And Karim is absolutely flying. Fires that car into the outside zone. But look at Hamdan. Gains some big proximity. That S15 not messing around. Oh, almost makes contact. Has to bail out of it. Drops wheels on the inside as Karim now puts himself in to outside zone 3. An incredible lead line from Karim Hani at the moment. Hamdan now playing catch up as he just tries to shortcut the circuit, fires it into the cones, dives into outside zone 5 and across the line. So beautiful lead line there for Karim Hani, and you can see, look, Hamdan fires that car towards the side of that purple BMW, but catches himself out on that transition. Has to put the car on the inside of the track. Not sure how the judges are going to deem that as they fire it back around. Once again, Karim Hani puts that car across. Beautiful lead line, absolutely clinical. Could have been deeper there on outside zone 5, but nevertheless gave Hamdan all the opportunity to chase him down. As I say, temperatures have dropped on track, so not as hot as what it was today in the midday sun. Karim Hani in that chase position now as Hamdan, they wait for the light, and Hamdan goes through the chicane, through to lead them out. Now squeezes the throttle, unleashes the power of that V8 as he gets into that first outside zone. A little wobbly, nevertheless makes it round. Oh, and it's a big over-rotation from Hamdan as Karim Hani now, a legal overtake, does exactly what the judges asked, and that was to take over that lead position role and complete the rest of the run, and he will do so as Karim Hani looks to have secured himself a spot in the Grade 8. We do need to make it official with our judges. Look at this. Big flick to initiation from Hamdan. Stands on the throttle. Car goes loose there, and when he gets back on it, just over-rotates. So teething issues there for the Sheikh's car. As he said earlier to me in an interview, they were unable to get the car out for round 1. They wanted to make sure it was 110%, but still teething issues. The only thing you can see when the smoke cloud erupts from the back of that car. Here we go, the chase car starts to creep off the line. He's allowed to do that in that once again follows up on that transition, trying to keep up with a pull from as he fires through. Takes it across the line. There we go, we can see here on that transition, gets lost in the smoke, puts the car on the inside and has to bail out of it. Unfortunate first half of the run there for Lucas Garrett in that Mustang. He now sits in the lead position. We know he's got a steady lead line, not as fast and as aggressive as most of the other drivers, but so the Ford Mustang sits on the line, ready to lead them out. So, light goes green, the lead car comes off the line and through the chicane. Yeah, will be a toll, give him some room to manoeuvre. isn't as fast as you, but yeah, way down the inside. Now starting to find some proximity. We do want to see a good chase from Ehab. As they fire in to outside zone 3, stands on the throttle, back bumper disposed of on the Mustang. As Ehab now hunts down the side of the green Mustang, flicks it through on the transition, keeps himself focused though. Now starts to make a dive up to the rear quarter of the Mustang and across the line. Yeah, so very tentative chase there from Ehab Alufala as he keeps himself out of any kind of danger, doesn't want to make contact, doesn't want to impede the lead car. You can see there, Lucas Garrett though, not doing a bad job, just sticks to that qualifying line, does exactly what the judges asked. And Ehab Alufala sticks with him, not on the perfect line, but does exactly what he needs to do. And there we go, the winner is Ehab Alufala. Let me get our drone up there and we can see our round 1 winner. That's Al Habali in that incredible carbon Kevlar 370Z, warming up the tyres. So Nasser Al Habali, a man that's only had 3 runs on the track so far this weekend. What can he do now in his first battle in the top 16? Are we looking for a spot in the Grade 8? Trying to keep that championship alive as he comes off through the gears, through the chicane. He is absolutely up in there. There is no catching that man. As you can see, Moyan Hamad trying to keep with him, but there is no keeping with Nasser Al Habali as he throws down an absolutely incredible lead run so far. Flawless from this young man. Look at the line. Exactly what the judges were looking for. And even with the short code of the track, Moyan had nothing in that battle. Incredible lead run there from Nasser Al Habali. Puts that car right where it needs to be. Look at this, you can see Moyad shortcutting the track every opportunity he can without driving straight on the inside, just trying to gain any sort of ground, but cannot hang with Nasser Al Habali as Habali puts it down. Look at that line, is exactly what the judges wanted to see in briefing. This is a man who turned up this morning and did 1 run of practice. They get the thumbs up all around and they look for the light. As soon as it drops green, we know they'll be creeping, and here we go, through the chicane, it comes Moyad. What can he do? Habali has to back out the side wall, almost makes contact on initiation. They're both down the inside. Habali goes this time and he fires through the smoke, looks back for the door once again. Moyad trying to do everything he can to evade the grip of Nasser Al Habali, but he just can't get away. Now flicks it, now finds the throttle. And Habali sticks it on that qualifying line and across the line. Incredible job there from Habali. As he deals with that bad lead line from Moyad Hamad. Hamad here, look, drops wheels once again, stands on the throttle, starts to drive away. It actually pulls a little bit of a gap there on that inner zone, but here it goes wrong, fires that car on transition. 3 wheels off the circuit, dives on the throttle, but too much, too little, too late, as we see a lot of smoke from the bonnet. There we go, good to send through the chicane, through the gears, up to initiation. Fires that car in, and Musselmani goes down on the inside, trying to keep himself clear of that smoke screen as they fire through that first inside clip. Oh, on a big straight and a mistake from Hussein Musselmani as he understeers the car, gets himself back into it in outside zone 3, but Ramzi Ahmed absolutely up and gone. Now Hussein Musselmani finds the door, finds the proximity, looks for the back bumper in outside zone 5. There we go, big mistake there from Hussein Musselmani in first outside zone. You can see Ramzi Ahmed not messing around here this weekend for business as usual. Wants himself on the podium this weekend, call himself higher in the points as the championship heats up here at the Emirates Drift Championship. himself into that final outside zone. You can see Hussein Basselmani edges the nose of that Corvette onto the rear bumper of that Silvia and across the line. Ready to go. What can Hussein do in that lead position when he knows he's got Ramzi Ahmed behind him? Dialed up to 100 this weekend once again, as it was in Liwa at round 1. Off the line they go. Let's see what Ramzi Ahmed can do in that chase position. Nice initiation from both guys this time, as now Hussein Basselmani puts it right where it needs to be, right to the edge of the circle. Opens the throttle in that Corvette, dials it on an angle through that inner zone. Back once again he goes. Flames erupt from the back of the Corvette as he gets on throttle, but he's shallow on outside zone 3. Picks up the throttle, looks for that inner clip, and he gets it dialed. And look at this. Ramzi Ahmed goes for the dive, but Hussein Basselmani drops wheels over the edge of the circuit and across the line. A really good initiation there from Hussein Basselmani. Gets himself into that first outside zone. Good job. Right up until that final outside zone in that lead position. Dials the car in, jumps on throttle. Shallow here as well on outside zone 3. There's mistakes on outside zone 5. Look at this, dials on the angle, drops the car right over the edge of the track, 2 wheels off, pulls it back on with the rear wheels, but could be all over for Hussein Basselmani. Falassi, the lower qualifier here this weekend, takes on third place qualifier Demir. Demir on that incredible lead line. That full carbon fibre Nissan 400Z hold of the championship points, knowing already that Nasir and Ahmed Ramzi are already in that big show. And through the gears they come, fires in, Demir into that first outside zone. Falassi now needs to find that proximity, needs to dial it up, turn it up onto the door, dials on the angle, looks for the transition back, but Demir putting down an incredible lead line at the moment. Falassi has to back out of it slightly into outside zone 3. Keeps a hold of it now, works his way through, almost takes the back end off of the 400, backs out of it once again as Falassi goes for some brave dives onto the door, that carbon 400Z. Wow, incredible chase there, good lead from Demir out front. The Fresh X driver goes for it, look at that perfect line in that first outside zone, comes through, dials the front end in, you can see Falassi scared he's going to lose some ground, so goes for a big dive. Backs out of it slightly into 3 and then starts to shortcut the circuit. Look, rear wheels not into that zone. Picks up that inner clip, then dangerous transition. Almost both cars making contact. Backs out of it again. Gets back on the throttle, but Demir absolutely up and gone. Well, there we go. Both guys signal the thumbs up. Falassi to lead out Demir in a spot in the Great 808s for one of these drivers. Who will it be? As the light goes green, Falassi to lead them out. Through the chicane comes the young man from the Pro Drift Academy. Demir almost takes a chunk out of the back bumper and stalls up on initiation. Falassi now deep in that first outside zone as he opens up the throttle. Demir lost in the smoke. But Falassi picks up a cone on that inner clip, pushes it around to outside zone 3, keeps a hold of it. Look at this big wide line. Falassi driving like his whole life depends on it, and now comes Demir as he makes a dive, but it's shallow on outside zone 5. Demir up onto the door, on the rear bumper, across the line. Wow, what an incredible lead and chase from these two guys, fighting for it, for a spot in the top 8. And Falassi, good job in that first outside zone. You can see Demir had to shortcut and work his way back into this battle. Makes a big dive here into outside zone 3. You can see him on throttle nice and early, tapping that foot brake, trying to keep proximity. And Falassi doing a good job on that qualifying line into outside zone 5 though. Just clips a wheel into it, stays shallow, but that opens the door for Demir to get up close and personal. So Demir gets the win from Fresh X Racing and takes out the young man in hunt of a championship this year. And Demir smiles and says, job done, back to the pits, ready for the next battle. Right, the final battle of our top 16 is almost underway. They wait for that green light to go. It will be Robert Babajulian to take on Xavier Alexander. Through the chicane, through the gears, Down they come for initiation, and look at this. Robert straight into it, no messing around. The higher qualifier, absolutely fired. In, up and gone, and Xavier Alexander struggling to keep with him. Oh, big straight in there from Xavier in that 350Z as Robert now finds that outside line, fires through the circuit, picks up that inner zone. Xavier trying everything he can. There's a bad line into the outside zone 5 for Robert as he squeezes the throttle on that 350Z and across the line. It's a very nice line from Robert there. Baba Julian in front as he flicks the car through that inner zone. Big straight in there from Xavier. Xavier trying everything he can do to try and keep up, but Robert out front doing a sterling job until there. Stalled the car up, didn't get into outside zone 5 until halfway through. You can see there in the background starts to creep forward, waits for the green light. Here we go. We are clear to send cars. The final battle of our top 16 underway. As Xavier Alexander fires that car in but fails to get it really in deep into that first outside zone. You can see Robert backing up. Oh, shallowing up. Takes the cones out on that inside zone. Fires the car towards the outside edge of the circuit, but Xavier Alexander can't get deep into outside zone 3. They fire back. Oh, and almost contact. Robert Babajulian slows that car down, and Xavier Alexander fires the car across the line. Well, it's a tale of two halves. What happened here? Let's take a look back at the replay. Almost a failed initiation as Xavier struggles to get that car deep into that first outside zone, flicks the car through, and then big mistake here from Robert Babajulian as he doesn't get that car across the circuit properly, but then a failed line into outside zone 3 from Xavier Alexander, and then a big mistake here. Both cars slow up massively. Robert has to bail out of it, jumps back onto the throttle, back onto line. So judges looking at the mistakes made. Big mistake there from Robert in the chase position, and then a mistake here. Oh, and I'm not sure who's at fault there on that transition. That is a decel zone going into outside zone 5. It's going to be a one more time. It's going to be a one more time. Judges not able to split them, so we will have a few minutes break while these guys get their tyres changed, refueled. Well, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and as you can see, we're going to go straight into our last top 16 battle between Robert Babajulian and Xavier Alexander. This is going to kick off our now final run, hopefully all the way to our podium. We may have a slight break for our third and fourth place playoff, but as to be expected with these guys needed to change tyres after their last battle. So here we go. Back on the line we go for the one more time battle. It's going to be Robert Babajulian to take on Xavier Alexander. And these guys now wait for that green light. It's going to be Robert to lead out Xavier as they come off the line and through the chicane. What changes were there made? What did they do in the paddock? Talking to their team. It's a nice line from Robert out front as Xavier now gets a little lost in the smoke, but he goes for the transition but straightens up on that inner zone. Now Robert back out into that outside zone 3, nice and deep, flexes the back bumper on the cones. Is beautiful once again, but on the inside fails to get to outside zone 5 until the very last moment as Xavier fulfills it across the line. When you go look back at the replay as we see Robert Babajulian go for that long first outside zone. Xavier not doing a bad job, gets lost in the smoke though. Look, mistimes the transition, has to straighten, reinitiates as Robert up and gone out front in that 350Z. Is that car right where it needs to be? Picks up the front one, but that transition there, bad transition, puts him out of that final outside zone. Has to work to get the back wheels in it in that 350Z. Better swap them around and see how it plays out in the second half of the battle with Xavier Alexander to lead out Robert. And thumbs up all around. Car slam into gear. And Xavier Alexander to lead out Robert in that purple and orange 350Z. Here we go. Through the chicane, through the gears. Both guys scream to initiation. Early initiation for Robert. doesn't play too well though, has to jump onto the foot brake to put that car into that first outside zone. Nice lead so far, both guys keeping it clean as they look for outside zone 3, and out of that zone once again is Xavier Alexander as he now transitions for the final time and misses outside zone 5 completely. It's a terrible lead and Robert deals with it as they get door to door across the line. So late initiation there from Robert, waiting for Xavier to get the job done. As we hear the decision is in and Robert Babajulian gets the win, advances through to the final spot in the Grade 8.